them in this atmosphere, though.
That's the hump that we need to get over. Is I don't know. I don't know how much of it is choice anymore.
It is choice. It has to be. Your child is subjected to, like, really mean racism.
What you're saying, it proves that it's not a choice. Because a choice would be the simple one where you would go, oh yeah, I'm not doing that anymore. The something that's happening is the block. And she's a Christian, super Christian, and so what we're talking about is these people we used to know that lived here, Kenny and Donna, and like.
Oh, he's not like
he's not.
align with her.
He's not in there anymore.
Yeah,
but
and he doesn't agree with her views.
Yeah, but they're not even together anymore.
Yeah,
I think.
No, they're divorced.
But she was always in love with Kenny. Always. And from like way back in elementary school or some shit. And Kenny was just like a loser. He was just some stereotype black guy who I remember one time
sold drugs, played video games all day.
He had me drive him to the jeweler, so he could spend like $200 on a little piece or something like that. And I just remember thinking, like, I'm driving you there.
You don't have a fucking car, and you're spending your money on.
Right? Why are you doing this? I mean, and this is 17, 18, and I'm thinking along those lines. Like, I didn't have that mindset of I like shiny things. But Kenny was the quintessence. What's funny is I just erased Kenny's phone number from my phone 2 days ago.
Really?
So it's really weird that it would work out this way. But Kenny was, like, his aspirations in life were to be a stereotype. He loved it. And he and Barry were, my black friends that I would always talk to him about the religious side of things. And I would always ask him, like...
They were open to talking about it.
Sorta, but they would always do their prayer before their food. And I would just be like, why do you guys do that? Like, you're black. The fuck is wrong with you? Do you not know the history behind, why you're even doing that? Like, do you understand why your dumbass in 1998, 99 is doing that stupid shit? Do you understand that?
Understand your ancestors were burned on those fucking crosses on the front lawn.
And that's what I'd always talk, and it would basically come down to a sort of just in case thing.
Yeah.
Well, just in case it's the truth, I'm going to believe that. And I'd be like, well, how do you know, Islam isn't the just in case?
But the thing is that just in case thing, don't you think that God knows you just said that? God knows that you're doing it only just in case, not that you really have given your heart to it.
I think at this point,
how does that make you any better? That's a mockery, isn't it?
I think at this point, God's taking whatever he can get.
There's no.
The leader, the membership is dwindling so much that they'll just take anything. But at some point, and Kenny used to fuck Donna whenever he wanted to. It was just
she was there.
Right, she was there. She was willing. She would just do anything. She was ugly, but apparently she gave like amazing blowjobs. Amazing from what Barry said, and that was like her. She was that girl in the hood. Everybody knew about Donna was the superhead. And at some point, in order to keep Kenny, she got pregnant. It was not,
She provided a house for him to live in.
Look, she was his boyfriend, or he was her boyfriend, but she wasn't his girlfriend.
Right.
And so
her like such shit.
She was an awful person. She was awful.
Oh yeah.
She was awful. Donna was awful. I hated Donna. Couldn't stand Donna. And then when she got pregnant, she literally had to keep a nigga baby. Like, that's really why she did it, was to keep Kenny. And you'd just be like, Kenny? You trying to keep Kenny? Like, what are you thinking? But they had this kid, Brandon, who's now a man. Brandon's probably in his fucking...
20.
Oh, no, he's older than that.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is.
Pregnant when we were together.
No, she didn't. She had Brandon. Brandon was like 7 or 8 when I met
No
you.
way.
Yeah, she had Brandon before I left.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, Brandon's like almost 30. If not 30.
No.
Yeah, he might be. I mean, he was in the 90s. Probably 98, 99 when she had him.
Goes by Ken now.
Kenny Two Pants. I called him Kenny Two Pants because he would always have a second pair of pants on underneath where he would stash all this shit. Like the cops wouldn't figure that out. And Kenny was the guy that, like, the couple times that he got a car at one point. Didn't last long, but he got a car and he drove. Like he would just like he had no regard for anything. He would just speed. He would cut through lights. He would just do. It was just insane. Like what, you know. And I always felt like Kenny wasn't as dumb as he portrayed himself to be. Like there was a brain in there. But throughout the years, you know, Donna was like this really driven person. She would, you know, she learned all she could about real estate. She started doing mortgages. She's you know, an admirable person in that regard. She's very driven. And, you know, after we got married and lives went in different directions and blah blah blah, they ended up having a couple more kids, like 10, 15 years after their first one. For some reason, they had 2 more kids. Because, you know, obviously that was a happy, healthy environment. Just a crazy, like I could just, the stories I can, yeah. The stories I could tell you about what it was like with them. But she ends up becoming like Susie religious, you know. And she's like super, super religious. And people like her are always so funny to me. It's like, bitch, your first son is a bastard. You know, like, I know of horrible...
Dad, there was a spider on my arm when
Oh, I didn't know we were having a conversation.
Your brother's sleeping.
Did you kill it?
No, I freaked out. And threw it, so now it's
So now it's in your room somewhere?
Yeah.
I'd find it.
It's mad at you now.
Oh, no, that's on you, buddy. I wouldn't even know where to look.
It was in my bed.
Okay, well, then you gotta find it, man.
Mom, can you come help me? Oh, hell no.
Oh, man, you gotta find it. What are we gonna help you do?
Help me find a spider.
How? The best way for you to find it is for you to find it.
Pair of eyes.
If you can't find it, then I'll come help you. But go try to find it for yourself.
I just looked.
Well, look some more, dude.
Dad.
Nick, you gotta look for it, bud.
You're my dad. Please help me.
Oh, damn.
You're my dad. Please be the mighty spider hunter.
I have no idea. How big was it?
I was stalking Donna's page trying to find out how old Brandon is, and I'm not seeing anything about Brandon. And Kenny never posts stuff about his kids just because, not because he's an asshole, because he likes to protect his babies. So I can't imagine Brandon is 30 already. Not that that matters. But anyway, so what sparked this all is on my page I had posted something, you know, against what's going on in our country right now, against ICE and all of the bullshit. And I had mentioned that my best friend had posted this, and since I couldn't share her post, I had to save the meme and repost it. So I wanted to give her the credit, so I titled it with that. And so Donna's response was, she should go back to that country then. Wait, I gotta find it. It was pretty bad. So, okay. So the post is, they came here illegally. I absolutely positively do not care. I would literally trade every single maggot for an undocumented immigrant without a moment's hesitation. They do the work you don't want to do. They have more grit than you do. They're more grateful than you are, and we don't have to listen to their pathetic, selfish, fragile, racist grievances on a daily basis. So that was the post, which I agreed with. So her response, now mind you, again, Donna's a white girl, married Kenny, her children are mixed. Nothing wrong with that. Just stating that is her background. And also her super religious nonsense, thought super religious people felt that the only people that, they don't believe in capital punishment because the only people that should take a life, or the only person, should be God. Man should not have that authority. So, knowing that, again, her background. So her response was, then she should go live where they're from, because that's what they are wanting to turn our country into. They're not coming here for opportunity, 100%. They're not coming here to escape a life. They're coming here to take advantage of our country. If some of y'all antis knew some of these people and knew what their countries are like and their goals, you wouldn't be so quick to defend them. A little girl right down the street from me was brutally raped and murdered and left under a bridge by two that should have been deported for all the other similar crimes they did prior to, but Biden wouldn't lock them up. The ones from Muslim countries want to take away your choices as a woman. Their goal is to instill Islam just like they have for other countries. You wouldn't be able to do shit unless your husband says so, and then still go to jail and be raped if you do something out of line. Is that the world you want? Y'all don't know shit about the rest of the world and what you're protecting. The world is seriously laughing at y'all and this mindset. Literally. The people you think you're standing up for, the people you think you are standing up for, that's here in the U.S., yeah, they think you're all fools because, oh my God, she writes like a kindergartner, because they using the fuck out of our country and our people. I know as most libs, your page is probably full of them, and I won't argue with programming, so I won't see any of the programmed arguments and attacks calling me all types of shit, because no one has facts to back this narrative up other than the big bad orange man is bad. So that was her response. And she's been very brutally attacked on my page since. But my point was, like, on the 13th.
Is that the second one?
No. On the 13th, she it's not bowl ready yet.
I wasn't gonna put it in there, but you've clearly been hitting it.
Well, no, because it wasn't hitting. Okay. Anyways, on the 13th, she had gone to the park with one of her children, and one of her children was happily playing with this little girl that they hadn't met prior to, a little white girl. And then all of a sudden, that little girl's mother, like, come here, quick, to her daughter. And the daughter came over, and they were sitting there whispering and kept looking over at Donna's daughter, like, suspiciously, and then the little girl wasn't allowed to, she couldn't come back and play with Donna's daughter. She kept looking at her like with this look like, oh my God, I really want to go play with you, but I'm not allowed to, type of thing. And Donna was so pissed. They left the park and was so upset. Like, she wanted to go say something, but she knew that right now violence is not the answer and blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, do you realize your kids are mixed? They look mixed. Like, you look at my boys and you don't necessarily see it unless you're really looking.
Not at all. You could never see it.
Her kids are very visibly mixed. So, when these agents come walking down the street, gathering people of color, guess what? Those people you're supporting are going to be rounding your fucking kids up. They're going to be targets. What? So anyways, that was the whole premise of where we got to you talking about that and now.
I don't know. And you know, the most difficult thing in all of this is to always be honest. And, you know, there are times when being honest is going to hurt someone's feelings that you care about. And so you don't do that. But, you know, like, I wouldn't waste a breath on Donna.
It wasn't Donna. It was responding to the Donna mentality that was going to come across the page.
But that's my point. Is like,
those are the people that have to be convinced, though, right?
But you're not going to. You're never.
I was very careful with my response.
You're never going to, especially not in the scenario you're in. But you know, my wife was freaking out last night, a little upset about the way things are going. You know, she says, "Well, you know, what happens if they come to Michigan? How do we keep them out of Michigan? What do we do?"
They're already here, but I mean, escalated 2 minutes.
And I said, "We can't." And I, you know, it makes me mad because for years I've been trying to get you guys to pay attention to these things and literally telling you, you know, they're going to be sending people down the streets to round people up and shit.
Sweetheart, that's so fucking outlandish.
I get it.
Nobody would have believed it.
Well,
so
you should have believed it.
Like they should have.
You should have believed it. I believed it because I looked. And the people closest to me, like my wife, should have been my biggest supporters. And instead, we're not. And you now want to, you know, you want to prevent the cut from happening when you already have a gash in your arm. And I, you know.
Nobody thought it was possible that they would get away with it.
Yeah, but why? And more than anything,
because
it's
not right.
But the idea that I'm telling you, I've got receipts to back up what I'm saying, and I'm telling you, and instead of you being like, oh, I'm gonna stand with my husband and support him on this because of dysfunctional shit from way back when, I have to be the bad guy, so you fight me on all of it.
No, it wouldn't have prevented it anyways. It's not stopping it.
Yes.
What can we do to stop it?
The fact is that even something like, well, you know, it's okay that I didn't pass the drug test. The company folded a couple of months later. Well, that doesn't fucking matter.
And it was never that you weren't believed.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. Abso-fucking-lutely. Like, the fact is, you know, when none of you can go to my wife's page and show me an example of her supporting me, unless you dig way deep into it, that's a problem. And the fact that they've been able to divide us down to husbands and wives, you know, it's I don't know. I mean, obviously, a lot of it has to do with both of our issues and dysfunctions to, you know, put ourselves in the positions we were in. But, you know, I think all of you could probably, you know, fit that same sort of scenario, and you go like, look back and think, how many people tried to talk to you about this? How many people tried to show you something and you shit on them? Have you been finding excuses to share people's work, or do you find every excuse not to share it? And I just have this real, I don't know, it's just a hang up of mine for sure. You know, and I even know it's not right. Like, I know the right thing to do is to overlook it, but you know, if you're on sort of the right side of things right now, and it's because of something personal that happened, or if you're not willing to look at who it was that fought against this forever, and then you finally, there was that thing that happened, but you have to address what it was that allowed you to overlook it the whole time. What was that? What was happening that you were being shown a genocide taking place and you turned a blind eye to it? You attacked me.
Powerless and inability.
That
to
is
stop
not
it.
true. That is so
can't
not
stop
true.
it. What can
That
you do
is
about
not
it?
true. That is not,
It's true.
no, it's not. That's not why, because I was just so powerless. That is not why you didn't support. It was not like, man, I really believe you and believe in everything you're doing and you're right, but I feel powerless, so I'm not going to support you at all. That's not how that works. You can say that because that's the pretty thing. That's the nice thing. That's the noble thing, you know. Well, I'm just a human, and but support is not, just fair weather support. Well, I know it's going to work, so then I'm going to support it. Not thinking it's not going to work, thinking whatever. That's not an excuse. That's more of a reason to do it. Because you know how difficult the narrative is, how difficult the climb is. So you're there pushing your person up, and they're pulling you up, and you're pulling them up, and they're pushing you up, and it's a steady climb uphill. And until you acknowledge the reason why you've been the anchor for most of the time, until something flipped, some sort of personal thing flipped for you. Because like my wife and her sister were talking about stuff yesterday, and they were, blah, blah. And it's like, yeah, who the fuck are you that you literally watched and in a lot of cases defended genocide, pedophilia, control, all those things, until thing happened that affected you personally? You saw them massacring children? Because you can't say you didn't see it. You can't say you had no idea. The Israel-Hamas thing, the Israel-Palestine thing, you can't just pretend like, oh, I didn't know anything about it. You knew.
No, but we've been seeing that shit our whole lives. It continues to happen, and nothing we can do to stop it over there.
Again, just
So-
because you say there's nothing I can do to stop it doesn't mean you don't try.
What the fuck can I do to stop Palestine?
Well, you can try. You can unify. You can work together and build the voice. It's a hell of a lot better than just bitching. All you do is bitch about it. Well, yeah, okay, you bitch about it.
What's the difference between bitching about it with your people or bitching about it online?
Bitching
That's
about
what you're doing.
Online, trying to build a community that can be larger and larger and larger, working on things, and more importantly, believing we can do something about it. I mean, you can tell by your whole tone and your attitude. This is one of those things where you're challenged. And when you're challenged, that's unacceptable. I'm not allowed to challenge you. I am not allowed to point
You're
out.
not looking at it from any other
Yep, that's what I'm
perspective.
doing. I'm not looking at it from any other perspective than my own. Yep, that's what it is. I'm not saying, I am looking at it from your perspective. I'm just saying you're wrong. And the idea that you can't be wrong says a lot. You can't say I'm wrong. Huh?
If people are talking about within their community, again, trying to...
You're not.
Just...
You're not. You're bitching about things because they got personal.
Okay, well, you're not proposing anything. You're just bitching
Absolutely.
online.
Yep, that's
So
all.
what's the
That's
difference?
all I'm doing is bitching online. I never propose anything. I never research anything. I never try to
didn't say
figuring
that.
things out, because you can't do anything until you figure it out.
What are you proposing? I haven't heard anything proposed. As
You
far
haven't
as
heard me propose
any
anything. Well,
solutions.
a lot of that is the lack of support, right? If you were more involved, then you would have heard the things that I've proposed, because pretending like I haven't proposed anything is nuts. It's nuts. But that's also part of that, she's told me many times that if you don't offer a solution, then you can't complain about the problem. And that's insane. That's just insane. Sometimes you don't know the solution. Doesn't mean you don't focus on the problem. But this is personal. And when this comes down to the looking into the personal aspects of things and why for years, unlike most people, you actually had somebody screaming at you about this. You can't say my head was in the sand. And you didn't fight against it. You know, you went into your own world, you did your own thing, you appeased yourself, and you fought with me on it, tooth and nail, every step of the way. And now that it's here and it's scary.
I haven't fought with you. You make it sound like something it wasn't.
Okay. Again, when you say that you won't share anything of mine, and then you go, fine, I will. I'm gonna take down my whole page, and I'm never gonna use my page again. And I'm fine. I'll just use my point. I can't even say my point. I can't even say my.
You have to give the background.
No, I don't have to give.
Yeah, you do. I didn't share anything of anybody.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't.
You
It
shared.
was only oils.
It was not only
At that
oils.
point, yes, it was.
It was not only oils. And even if it was, the idea that your husband creates something
that I could ostracize a big chunk
I
of my
can't even say
That's
I can't
stupid.
even say what I'm gonna say. And the fact that's usually what people do when they know they're wrong. It's what cops do all the time. It's why cops don't let people speak, right? Because it's just what it is.
What you do is controversial.
Again,
I'm running a marketing page. I'm not trying to close my market.
it would be one
by
thing.
your words.
It would be one thing if you were actually doing that, but you weren't. And there are plenty of things that you could share that don't fit into that narrative. You just chose not to. Nothing about Tom's Diner. Nothing about Tom's Diner did that. I even wrote. I even wrote
stuff.
Exactly. Tom's Diner might lead to people again. The fact that you're arguing closing the market. Yep, that's what it is. The fact, like I say, you can always find your excuse not to do something. You always can. And then you can make the excuses to not be a part of something and all that. But when that affects things, you can't be upset that affects things. You can't be like, well, it's okay that I did it. Okay, well then it's okay that it affects things, right? You know, if you find an excuse to not share your spouse's creations, whatever that excuse may be, you can't be upset that causes a rift. You know, especially considering the thing that I'm doing was done long before the other thing was done. But you always find the reasons to do what you want to do. My wife is a really incredible person, right? When one day she decided that, so they went up to the dunes, they rode in the dune buggies with her cousin, and they had this great time. And then her cousin's birthday was coming up, or maybe it was Christmas, I don't remember. But Christmas. And so my wife decided that she was going to make a little keepsake box for him with a dune buggy on it. Now, she maybe could have found it if she looked, but she was like, no, I want to make this. So she got this little wooden box, and she sanded it all down, and she got herself an engraver, like you could burn things into the wood. She got herself one of those. Didn't know how to use it or anything, but figured it out. Put this great design, like it's crazy the design that she put. It looked really great. Like it was really well done. And then, she covered it with the gloss and just, it looked like somebody made it at a store. It was professionally, you could never assume some dumb broad made it in her fucking bedroom, right? And that's the person I'm talking about. That's the person that will say, oh, well, I can't do this because my hands hurt. Or I can't do that because I can't share anything you do because I do oils. And to think that, so if you shared something of mine, somebody that likes what they hear is then going to go, or somebody that doesn't like what they hear. Like, it's more arrogance than anything, right? It's this idea that you act like if you share something, that puts a badge around you and everywhere you go, everybody sees it. Most people are going to override that post anyway. Some people might see it. If they don't like it, they're just going to quit. They're not going to dig deeper into something that they didn't like. And if somebody likes it, well, they might like the other stuff. But either way, you're showing your allegiances, whatever it may be. And this is across the board. This isn't just my situation. I know if it was the other way around, if my wife decided to do something and I was like, no, I'm not going to help you with that because, well, my stuff is for me. I don't want to alienate somebody. Maybe somebody out there that I know is a pharmaceutical rep and they're going to get really upset at the idea of me sharing oils. That just wouldn't fly. It wouldn't be accepted. I would never do it. I would, I'm going to do everything I can to show support. Oh, you're getting into oils? Here, let me write an oils song. Why not? I think that's how we need to be just in general. We need to help each other out. If you don't like if I share something and you don't like it, especially if I share it with the idea, hey, this is a family members of mine, I'm sharing something from somebody close to me, important to me. If you don't like it, cool. But, if you do, you do. Like if somebody is going to get mad at you for that, then who the fuck are they to you to begin with? You could always find the excuse. There's always excuses, excuses out there. And for literally years, yeah, but you think that. She doesn't think that. And that's generally how it is with everybody in everything. When you're in something, you don't see what it is. And, what sucks is you put yourself in positions not knowing what the future holds. You not knowing the dysfunctional aspects of things that could rear their heads. And, again, I would think I believe in myself and I believe in the songs that we create. And I think they are amazing. I think they're better than fucking anything else out there. And for what I do to not make you, someone close to me, be like, oh my gosh, this is great. I want other people to hear this. Well, that says something, right? I'm not sitting here here, taste the cupcake I made. I'm literally creating art. This is art. There are people out there in the world that think it's really spectacular. And, to not have that sort of, somebody in my position needs somebody that is like that. Because there are days when I don't feel that way. And there are times when I get down and in slumps and all that shit. And what someone ideally would have is someone pushing them, pulling them, telling them repeatedly, you're fucking great. You're great. Why aren't you doing this? You're great. I say to my wife all the time how great she is. Doesn't come back in the same way. And a lot of that has to do with dysfunction and issues and all that stuff. But if you don't want to see the issues, you won't.
Tell you you're amazing and awesome all the fucking time.
What are you
talking about?
Okay. If you say so. Oh, go. What's going on? If I was wrong, it would be obvious. There would be more to point to. But the reality is always, a lot different from what people present it as. And, I've said this for a long time. You know, there's nothing worse than being this person who unfortunately sees the world the way I do. And so I'm burdened with this bullshit. And I also happen to be able to write really well. So it's like this double burden. I don't want to be this person. I would love to be the put my head in the sand guy and think everything was going to be okay. But I'm not that person. And because I'm not, it's you know, I'm spending my time out battling injustice, fighting the good fight. And to fight outside the home and all day against the system that is crushing to the point where you can't do anything about it, so why try? To fight that fight anyway, when most people aren't strong enough to do it, to then come home and fight, or to fight at home, is the worst. It's not how it should work. So if you're going to be a person like me, make sure you find someone that is enamored with you and thinks that you're awesome and is not in competition with you. And is going to be that support system that you're going to need, because you will absolutely need it. This is a hard road. And at the same time, to anybody who is on the verge of being the spouse of that person, if you're not that person, don't do that to the person. If you're not going to be the person that wakes up every day and tells that person how awesome they are, knowing that they're an artist or whatever, these are people that are, you know, empathetic, and they feel, and if you're not going to be that, then don't be that. Don't put yourself in that position. It's going to lead to negativity, resentment. You know, it's bad. Your catalog is vast in quality and an array of subjects. I know. We have lots of subjects. We have cover songs. We have all sorts of things that someone could share if they wanted to. But when you don't want to, you'll find the reason not to. I know I let you guys into these personal things because it shows you that it's the same things that are happening in the big picture are happening on a smaller level, much closer to home. And it's not just, oh, the system sucks and blah, blah, blah. Well, we are the system. And unless we're dealing with all of our dysfunction and our shit that prevents us from being our very best, then we're failing. You have one life. You know, you believe in reincarnation or spirits and all this other shit. Well, that gives you an excuse, doesn't it? You can say, oh, I hate my life. I don't want to open my eyes every morning. Because you like, well, next time I'll get it right. Next time it'll be fun. Instead of going, this is my one fucking shot at this. If I'm not living every single day to be as happy as I can possibly be, then what are we doing? What a waste of a life is that? And you paid any attention to the color revolution going on in America. Yeah. What you're talking about, like, again, so I know I don't propose anything. I never provide any solutions or anything like that. But I'm telling you, what we're experiencing cannot be fixed the way that you seem to think it can be. The only way we fix that outward stuff is if we fix the inward stuff. We have to figure out why people are watching things and seeing things the way that they are. Why the Donnas exist. This is a female. This is a woman that interracial relationships her whole life has halfy kids and shit. Why would she think the way she does? And it comes down to the internal shit. The stuff that we don't want to talk about. The excuses.
Her family's from Iran, aren't they?
Something like that,
Her
yeah.
dad is off the boat.
Yeah. You can't fix this just by talking about what's happening. We have to get into the nitty-gritties of it. A huge part of it is Christianity. The Christianity that keeps everyone blind and stupid. That's just it. That's exactly it, Karen. This is not a life. It has become an existence. And when life has become an existence for you, where you don't want to wake up every day and blah, 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 then don't do it anymore. Don't do it anymore. Change whatever you have to change so that you're not in that position anymore. You know, there's something magical about, even though I'm failing, even though TBG is censored to bejesus and all that other shit, but knowing that there is a goal and that goal is righteous. I am righteous in what I'm doing. I am correct. You know, there's something to that. And that's the thing that motivates, that self-motivation, that, you know, I come 8 o'clock, I'm like, all right, come on, 8:30, because I can't wait to go live. And even though it does nothing, and I produce nothing, and all these other things that come from me wasting all this time every day, and blah, blah, all talking to my yes man, and all this other shit, you know, it's like, you know, it's definitely at the very least being spoken out into the ether. You know, and depending on what you believe, you know, that's powerful. But, you know, I also believe that, like, you never fucking know. I never know whether today is going to be the day that some famous person happens to stumble across my shit. And they're like, well, this guy's kind of interesting. About creating new jobs, creating new businesses, and therefore also new opportunities for others. Find your passion. No. Work is not the secret to life, to a fulfilling, happy life. Slave labor, working at some job you hate, that's not the secret. You know, what should happen is we should have machines that do the vast majority of the work. And for those that truly want to work, there'll be jobs available. But for those that are like, nah, I'm going to spend my life existing. You know, because you never know. Like, you can't judge people's value. You could say, oh, that person sits around and plays video games all day, blah, 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 they suck. Well, what if that person plays video games and on their headset, they happen to have made a connection with some dude in fucking Switzerland. And for some reason, they make this connection. And that dude doesn't get along with anybody else. And neither does Switzerland dude. But somehow those two make a connection. And there are days when Switzerland dude is at the end of his fucking rope. If not for video game guy being there to just be, you know, hey man, it's all good. Let's go kick some ass. Let's go, you know, whatever. Gets him through that. What happens when Switzerland dude grows up to cure cancer? He grows up to, you know, he saves a fucking child from drowning, and that child grows up to cure cancer. You know, who's the most important and who's the least important link in that chain? None of them. They all are. Same thing. Like, they're all just as important. Without the other ones, then the one can't happen. And if we freed up society without these bullshit 9-to-5 slave jobs, then you know, people would advance. People would excel. Most people are not going to sit around and do nothing all day. Look at my dumbass. I know some people think what I do is pointless, but I definitely don't sit around and watch TV and do nothing all day. I'm a good dad, you know. I do my feed. I create music. I'm very limited in what I can do. But with what I have available to me, I use it. And, you know, again, some of you might think it's pointless. Some of you might think it's stupid. But when someone like Mary tells me that Oedipus Shrugged is the most important song that she's ever heard in her life, and it touched something deep down inside, and it helped her realize something and get through some issues and all that, well, then I accomplished something. You know, and to say that Mary is just some fucking weirdo who that's the only person that would happen for, that's foolish. Without the censorship, that might happen to other people. But the fact that it has happened means I've accomplished something. I've made someone else's life better. And shouldn't that be what we're all trying to do, is just make everyone else's life better? You know, my ultimate goal is a purely like is a true selfish goal. I call it true selfishness. And my goal in life is that myself, my wife, and my kids all live the happiest, healthiest, safest lives that we can live. And the only possible way that can ever happen is if everyone else is living the happiest, healthiest, safest lives they can live. My selfishness is you know, it benefits everyone. But that's, you know, look at my feed. Most of the time I'm talking about the big picture. I'm talking about the big picture. I'm not talking about me. And today I let you guys in a little bit, and I let you guys in on these. You know, these are big time issues. These are dysfunctional things. These are things that are often kept behind closed doors. And what good does that do? What good does that do? Keeping how I feel inside does what? What? My wife doesn't have to hear it, so then I guess she doesn't feel bad? Is that it? I don't know. But I don't see any benefit in keeping things inside and not talking about things. Literally, there's nothing that I could talk about that can be used against me in any way. I don't do anything. I don't exist in a way that is something shameful or wrong that could then be turned against me in some way or something like that. So everything about me, everything about my life, everything that I think and do, it's all open. I don't care what people have to say. I don't, these clowns in here, these begging for attention, these Israeli bots, whatever they are. There's nothing I do or say that can be used against me. Not in a way that I wouldn't work. You can call me anti-Semitic all you want. It's going to make you look stupid. I told you that about that very song as soon as I heard it. All right, Karen too. That song is something special. That song is a Stairway to Heaven kind of a special song. And I know as a regular nothing, nobody, unsuccessful, this and that, I'm not supposed to make that kind of comparison with myself. How dare you think that your song is Stairway to Heaven level? Well, because I do. And I don't know any other songs that are as poignant and as direct and still as cool. But, like, there's no questioning it. You know what the song's about. You get most of the shit. There might be some references that miss you, but you'll get it. That builds stress. Keeps keeping everything bottled up, kill you every time. Right. And if what I say hurts your feelings, if you don't like what I'm saying, well, change it, fix it. If it can't be fixed or changed, well, that says something in itself. I would much rather deal with the unpleasant than with the limbo, with the I don't know. I'd much rather deal with the problem than not know about the problem. And I just, when you have more tracks than a junkie, something just has to give. That song is like an autobiography for me. That song is like an autobiography for most of us. If it's not, then I'm jealous. You be fortunate. Feel fortunate that you don't relate to Oedipus Shrugged, because Oedipus Shrugged is made for me. It's made for you. It's supposed to be cathartic. It's supposed to hurt a little bit while also empowering at the same time.
Must-win, God, men clutching butt sends chills up your spine. The lines that rhyme find their way through. It's time to remove the excuse they are holy. Hell-bent on exposing the whole thing is fake. My cake will be had and gladly enjoyed. I'm Floyd. Drop your hat in.
I am Floyd. Drop your hat in. Get it? Oh, it's so good.
When you have more tracks than a junkie, something just has to give. When you crack the past, your being something stacked against. When the mask you flash is a cutscene, nothing can back you in. And when your laugh is last, it must mean cause brings you happiness.
Oh, come on now. So good. So good. But again, like I say, I don't. Have you guys ever seen? Has something ever been brought up where I've been like, oh no, hey, I'm not comfortable talking about that? The only time I've ever said shit like that was when I didn't want to hurt my wife's feelings. Literally, I don't, nothing about me or anything. Like, and the thing is, like, I don't look at my wife's the negative stuff as like her failure, on her own. It's my failure too. It's embarrassing. I wish I could be like, yes, my wife loves and supports everything I do all the time, blah blah blah. Like obviously I want that. It hurts to not have that. And to talk about it is to let people in, to deal with what is going on. And when you get guys like Quinn O'Flynn, right? Are you still here, Algo? No, I don't take anything on fucking websites. Any tests or anything like that. That shit's dumb. Algo, are you still here? Algo gets bored really easily, so I always gotta check. But I keep bringing up Algo because of Quinn O'Flynn. Flynn O'Quinn, Quinn O'Flynn, whatever the fuck his name is. And maybe even, I mean, I wasn't surprised at all that Algo tagged me in there. I wasn't surprised at all that Algo watches that guy. And when you're in this sort of truther circle, it's a smaller circle than people think. Especially when you get up in the known names people. Algo must not be here. He would have said so.
Life in a bottle.
Hey there, nice gullible sheep. What's wrong?
Bones not strong enough, dong not long enough, hairline gone too much. I've got whatever you need. Please form a line to the left. I take cards, checks. Shit, if you're out of cash,
I'll snatch your last breath.
I'm the medicine man. Canner can anything that he can, but a canner can't.
Oh, you motherfucker. What the hell just happened? Why did that just happen? That was weird. Yeah, I just, we have to fix the problems. And if fixing the problems means it hurts your feelings, trust in Jesus or go to hell. Right there, that's a great example of it, right? What kind of piece of shit God sets up that situation? I'm gonna give you a really, foolishly stupid, obviously, fake, total control scheme. Like anybody with fucking any sort of common sense can see that it's not real. And I'm gonna present you with that situation. And if you don't believe it, if you question that narrative, if you call out how all the pedophilia and all that shit, you're gonna go to hell for all of eternity. Like, what kind of piece of shit God does that? I'm gonna present you with something, no evidence, no nothing. You better fucking believe it. Yeah, so what? There are lots of stories just like it all over the place. You better believe this one, or else you go to hell for all of eternity. Mwahaha.
I'm the medicine man.
So wait, if I live a good life, if I don't hurt anybody, good husband, good father, help out my community, whatever, good person, that doesn't matter. What matters is if I believe in that bullshit. That's the key. Do you realize how stupid that is?
Does your hair make a shirt? Do crowds stress your nerves? Do words backward look? You can't cook? Oh, I've got a book full of pills for you.
Like it's just,
Designed to chill your mood. Your son in school?
it's so fucking crazy.
Around way more than the rest of the 7-year-olds. Truth be told, he needs Ritalin. He has ADD. God damn it, he won't pay attention to me. We feed drugs
Oh,
to
I've got a
ourselves.
really good video what I'm gonna do.
Sell you dream schemes on how to get healthy while still being
That's gonna be sweet. You're gonna have to wait till it gets warmer though. Eternal suffering for sins that are physically impossible to cause a negative impact that is of infinite value never made sense to me. None of it does though. The thing is, like, it's like that's the thing about the way our society works. Is like, take the circumcision thing, right? When it comes to the friar community and their metzitzia oral suction, the forever argument, literally the only argument that you see in mainstream society, is the health risks. The fact that you might be able to transmit herpes or other shit. And apparently back in the 1700s, I guess, they knew that the oral shit, I don't think it was, maybe it wasn't 7, but it was hundreds of years ago, 1800s. They knew that you could transmit diphtheria and syphilis and all these other things from the moil to the babies. And literally the only condemnation that sort of exists of the practice is because of this story, because the moil, knowingly spreading all this shit to children, refused to step down and just kept doing it. And then the community itself, they go after legislators and shit. They go after the system. Even if the system says, hey, one of the requirements by law, if you're going to do this medical procedure, is that you have to tell the people the risks. You know, you have to let the parents know about the actual risks. And they fight against that. They fight against the idea that they have to be transparent with the parents. That's so fucked up. Transparent.
But if that's too much to ask, I've got this flask full of pills for $1. Works.
Booted. Then make them sign a fucking waiver. Right. You would think, but again, the last meaningful legislation on this was to stop, you know, because for a little bit it was passed that they had to, you know, tell the people the dangers, but they just wouldn't do it. There was a legal standard that they were held to. They wouldn't do it, and since they won't get arrested, they were like, well, fuck, they're not going to do it anyway. Actually, they came out, and I believe it was thousands of Moyles signed this petition saying that if a law is passed saying that they have to express they won't do it. And that was okay. That was like, oh, well, okay. That's like us being like, well, nobody should have locks on their doors because we're just going to break in your house. If you lock your door, then we're going to specifically target your house. And that system being like, well, okay, what are we going to do? We can't just arrest them for that.
What if I purchased a building that's
This is one of my favorites too.
relentless? Its surface needed rebuilding. It was built and filled with asbestos. A business sentenced by all manner of measure.
I'm trying to hold Charles to the standard of one song a week. Many red flags. I know that's not what you said, because you got a symbol for that one. Check it out, check it out, check it out. Where's Mary? Mary's always so late. Yeah, you're a single mother with 3 kids, and you've got other important things to do. I honestly, I don't blame her at all. I know people will run with it, but you call me Mohammed even if my name's Mossad. Ooh, that's so good. Seriously, it doesn't get better than that. Yes, playing. I said red flag much as. Interesting. This whole album is fucking fire. Have you guys seen our video? Our video for the song "What in the World Are They Spraying"? So apparently, I went and I found it. Our video for "What in the World Are They Spraying" still exists, but the audio's been taken out of it. It has like 900 something shares, 120 something comments, 130, I don't remember. 0 likes. And we can't even see what the views are on it anymore. Have you ever heard of a band that what is probably their most, quote, popular song has the most views on it? The audio's been taken out of the video? Who the fuck did that? We didn't even know they did it. There was no notification or any, hey, we're taking the audio out of this video. Why would they do that? That's... What's up, dude? How you feeling? You better be sick. Because that's why you're home. Which means it's an easy day. No computer. Exactly what I mean by no computer. Hang out, chill, watch movies and whatnot. You're taking it easy today. You should be at shul.
Jump into the mental loop as quickly as your silent broads now trying not to nod at the part about small dicks. Her mind's like, oh my god, why won't he just switch back subjects really quick? What was he just saying? 3 skyscrapers don't just dip when hit by 2 jet planes? Actually quite strange, since I planned on painting a picture to properly reframe the hand of the ultimate fister, ramming the shit your fed is official. My bloodline is piss poor. Do I get Larry's dismissal?
Oh, I give a shit about what you have to say. I'm being a dick by not letting him play video games all day. Oh, what a dickhead. You're such a clown. You're sick from home from school. If you're too sick to go to school, you're too sick to play video games. You can lay out and chill. But hey, it's a good thing you don't have kids. They'd be those kids that fucking do whatever they want, whenever they want. Get mad at people that question them. Don't I remember what it was like? Yeah, when I was home from school and I was sick, I didn't have cable, so I would watch Green Acres and Happy Days and what else? Alice would be on, and there was all kinds of shit that was on that I had to watch. I definitely didn't get to sit around and pick DVDs that I got to watch, that's for damn sure. Being sick wasn't supposed to be a good thing. I don't want you to think it's a good thing to stay home from school. Yeah. But to feel sorry for someone that laying in their bed all day, their big giant queen-sized bed, having everything brought to them while they get to watch whatever DVDs they want. South Park at the moment, because they just got the complete series of South Park. Yeah, don't feel bad for that. I shared out your stats regarding censorship the other day. Numbers talking. I shared out your stats required. I don't know what the hell you just said, Karen. We have songs, we have numbers that you know, that unknowns shouldn't have. Before the January 2020 switch, when we would post a song, if it didn't get 1,000 views within the first day, I would be upset. That just didn't jive right with me. It would normally slow down around 3,000 views after a few days. But it used to happen all the time, and I'd be upset if it didn't get the 1,000. Yes, he's being punished. Look at how stupid you are. Like, this is what I'm saying. When stupid people who want to just oppose things don't have a real argument, they just say stupid shit. Especially if you're not, like, you just don't know what you're talking about. Video games are not just laid back, chill and put some puzzles together. They're intense. high intensity fighting games. I'm not even I think there's not a parent on here that's like, oh, you're making the wrong choice. I think damn near every parent on here is like, no, yeah, you're not at school, you don't play video games. But, you know, dumb fucking people who, they're dumb. You know, I don't expect dumb people to be intelligent.
So I'm told I'm a brick. Call me whoever. But it's the guys with small dicks that are causing the sever, keeping endeavors from coming together. If you never say never, you better be clever. With racism fed, you're quite shamefully saying whenever you're getting head, her brain's always amazing. But it's easy to say things like that when you're tiny. Anyone can be Swayze when the roadhouse is whiny. If you find you keep finding girls blowing like porn stars, you might need reminding that most throats don't go far. Told you should go hard, it's time you go home. You hold a flowchart where lines should be known. Stinging full blown, the truth can be vicious. Racism's grown to compensate the britches. Bitches. Finally matter if only they said to. Would stereotypes rewrite themselves if we'd admit the truth? Would racism exist if there was the myth all black guys have big dicks? If size didn't matter, would racism shatter and the pattern no longer exist?
I was in the car. I'm gonna listen to this album next time I'm in the car. And listen to it loudly. And when you shared your post about 1,000 views, etc., but no likes, I'm paraphrasing, it was a pic of your digit dashboard. Yeah. Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about. I think from the other day, that's from What in the World Are They Spraying? Makes no sense. This song should be huge. Song's awesome. Yeah. But the number one thing for me that is the most telling aspect of the censorship, I'm not sitting here saying, man, I should have a page with a whole bunch of ass kiss comments, and because nobody's kissing my ass, I'm being censored. People are much more likely to complain than they are to give compliments. So for every, 10 or 20 complaints, you should get a compliment. And I use this example all the time of, I've worked in restaurants. I used to work in restaurants my whole life. Every time we go to the restaurant, if we have a great experience, we tell we have the server bring the manager over, and the manager is always like, fuck, and he comes over and we're like, yeah, we just want to let you know everything was great. You're doing a great job. You're running a great show here. And they're always like, oh, hey, everybody complain. Nobody ever tells them that. Nobody ever pulls them aside to tell them how great everything was. It never happens. Because people don't do that. People don't just readily throw out compliments like that.
Call me the false prophet. From Jesus to Muhammad. I fault you for your nonsense. Then talk as though it's honest.
But that's what I'm saying about our music. Our music, our pages, when they have thousands and thousands, some of our songs have tens of thousands of views on them. With tens of thousands of views, there should be all sorts of shitty comments. This sucks. What the fuck is this? Blah, blah, blah. There should be all, especially considering how different our stuff is. You know. How people like to hear the same fucking Bacardi party song over and over again, and we're not that. So we should have a ton of fucking comments. This guy didn't even rhyme Bacardi with party. Mercedes and babies. Gotta make those do it. And the fact that we don't have the stream of negative comments tells you that there's censorship. I mean, that's you know, it's not about me blowing myself here. I don't think it should be full of, you know, gosh, guy, you're the best. All my pies are key lime. But you'd have to put it in the context of the song. I'm not sure which verse, which song that's from. I know the verse, I know the line, but I can't think of it just off the top of my head. I do, and the one, that's the one I shared. I want to see. Got a few records. Yeah, see, I don't even see that you share the shit anymore. They don't even tell me that stuff. No, not all of them. They get taken down a lot. We're trying to get away from everything. Ideally, when the time comes, you know, you won't be able to get our shit anywhere else. The place where you get TBG is from TBG. Fuck everybody else. I will never stop people from using our stuff in like movies and shit like that, soundtrack wise or anything like that. You always have permission to use our shit. I appreciate it. If you're gonna use our shit for something you've created, I'm honored by that. Like, even if it's something shitty, you can't, you know, I don't care. You can make fun of me all you want. The more you make fun of me, the better. I got the keys.
Come on now. You don't feel insulted listening to that?
I do.
You have the keys?
Why would I have the keys? I ain't going nowhere. Oh. I was trying to figure it out. Like, what? I didn't go anywhere. Did I go somewhere?
We never get you like that, so that was really special.
You just made coffee come out of my nose. Ouch! How did I do that?
That was hurt.
What did I say? That was funny. Yeah. I think the only thing that explains my position is interference and censorship. I listen to TBG, especially like in the car, and it's an experience. This isn't just listening to music to go from one place to another. This is the kind of shit where you like stop because you want to hear the last part. You don't get right out of the car. You want to hear what the song is saying. And I wrote the fucking songs. This isn't like nothing wrong with friars. Ew. Only friars say something like that. They're the worst people in the world, across the board. And I know you say, oh, but I know my bubby. I know a woman, she was so nice, she was so nice, she was so nice. Sure. Like, they're completely outnumbered. They can't be assholes. Not on the surface level. You know, if you've ever worked for them, you definitely know they can be assholes. But they're not. Such a great example of this is my old friend Kelly. Kelly worked at this dentist's office, and she had worked there right out of high school. She wasn't like some Rhodes Scholar or something. She wasn't like really stupid, but she wasn't like the smartest person in the world. And I think she graduated high school. I don't remember if she did. But out of high school, she started working at this office. And over the years, he would pay for her to go different training, and she would increase her position in the company. And she would argue with me. You know, this was 18 maybe, 2018, 17, 18, something like that. A long time ago, yeah, a while ago. But she would argue with me about this because I would say, you know, they're horrible, and she would say, no. You know, I know there's some shit going on, but you know, I love my Jews. She would always say. She would always talk about how there are certain things wrong with all people, with all groups. I want to know where all my pies are key lime. I want to know what song that's in. You got me stumped right there. But she would say that they're great. They're great. They're not what you say. They're not what you say. And I'd say, all right, well, you know, maybe ask him some questions. Ask him about some stuff. And she would, you know, I'd tell her to ask him, you know, little things. And then one day I said, all right, ask him what the difference is between the Talmud and the Torah, and why everybody says the Torah is the main book. And she went to work, and she called me, and she was like, I don't think she called. This was through the messenger. She was like, he said that the Talmud is like the Old Testament, and the Torah is like the New Testament. And it's just that simple. And I was like, that's a fucking lie. He lied to your face, right? Like he's lying. And the next day, she calls crying. She actually calls me crying, and she's like, oh my God, I think I'm going to lose my job, blah, 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 blah. Like, what happened? And she's like, I don't know. I asked him something about something, you know, something about the Judaism stuff, and he just snapped at me. And he like yelled at me, and it wasn't even it wasn't like she screwed up. She was put back in place. She was yelled at like she had stepped out of line. Not like she had messed something up, because he didn't do that. He had never yelled at her before. No, she had never seen this side of him. She thought he was, you know, just incapable of it. And she didn't even say anything outlandish or anything. But he snapped at her, and he put her in her place real bad. And she was really upset, and she was really worried about it. And I was like, all right, well, you know, I'm really sorry. Whatever you do, just don't ask him any more questions. That was him. You're going to be fine. You know, don't worry. You're a cute girl. He likes having you in the office. You're not going to lose your job. But just don't ask him any more questions. That was him telling you that the door is closed. Don't ask any more questions. And she was like, all right, I guess. The next day she went to work. She got pulled into his office without any explanation or anything. He was like, we're going to give you a $3 an hour raise. You're doing a great job here. That's that. And she was dumbfounded by it. And she should have been, because I've never heard of anybody in an hourly position getting a $3 an hour raise. Never heard of somebody going from $17 or $18 an hour to $21 or like that's just not how shit works. And she hadn't had a raise in years. And she was comfortable. She was happy. She was grateful. He paid for her schooling. She didn't think to ask for a raise because she didn't think her value was as high as it was. But I was like, look, this is what they do. They put you in your place and then they pay you off. And he's paying you off. He's buying your
Silence.
not even silence, submission, right. He's buying your submission. He puts you in a very uncomfortable, demeaning place. You know, he had no business treating you like that. And you could probably go get another job in a similar field making the same kind of money, if not more. You know, you're very valuable. You're loyal. You're good at your job. And again, she's cute. Cute goes a long fucking way. Marvin and I were talking about it the other day. He's talking about getting a new location, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm only having cute girls there." Why? Because they bring business. People will go to a place just because the girl is cute. You know, I'll take mediocre service from a cute girl as opposed to really great service from a gay guy or a dude in general. Well, I'm saying most people are that way. Most people are. Females respond the same way. Females respond to, it's an aesthetic thing. Pretty is universal. Especially symmetry and shit, But now, that can be pushed. Because, I knew a girl who was really cute. She was a waitress. And she had big boobs, but she always used to cover them up. And we were like, why do you do that? You can make more money. And she tried it. And she noticed that she was getting more tips from the guys. But, fucking bitter ass, jealous women treated her like shit because she was good looking and had big boobs and used them to her advantage. It wasn't that. It was the women on lunch break together and shit. Right. But even if you're that, you're with your man or whatever, you understand that she's working and she's trying to maximize her tips. And most of the people she deals with are moron dudes. So you can understand why she's not covering herself just for your husband. She doesn't want your dude. She probably has a dude at home.
If you're good enough, you don't need to stick your boobs in people's face, though.
It's not true. If you're great at what you do, and nobody's saying, like, again, I love when she does that, when people do that. This exaggerated thing. Well, sticking your boobs in people's face. Like she was walking up like, hi, how are you? It wasn't like that. Instead of having the button all the way up like she did, like she was extra. She like hit it. Instead of having the button all the way up, she had it down so the cleavage would show. That's all. Nobody's boobs were anybody's face. But going back to my pies are all key lime. It probably has something to do with sour. Key lime pies are sour. So whatever the experience is sour, it's a negative. That's what it means. Garrett is Old Yiddish for has minimum wage workers on the payroll. That's funny. Hot dogs and the hamburger bun. The good old golden ratio. I think the golden ratio, oh, come on. Why can't I think about what it's called right now? Oh, I don't want to know. Don't say it. The oh, come on. All right, tell me. Yes, key lime pies are delicious. So even the sour parts of life still have a value to them. It's deeper than you think. Fibonacci, fucking A. Karen's always on top of things. I think, again, if the world we live in is this manufactured TV show, for lack of a better word, manufactured reality show, the golden ratio is the main computer program. Like when you have a program, there's like the main program that everything is based off of. Well, what if the golden ratio is just the main thing put into the 3D printer that they use to that's why everything has it. There are many Jews here. Anti-Semitism isn't considered very classy either. Oh, I'm very, very proud of my anti-Semitism. Because what does Semitism mean? Now, you don't want to have this conversation because you're a fucking moron and you know that you can't actually do this. You probably don't even know this shit anyway. But Semitism means policy or predisposition favorable to Jews. Yo, what? What do you think it is?
Give him some attention. I don't know. I tried letting him out.
He wants attention. He wants you to play with him. He's a dumb kid who nobody plays with.
Who misses Mo?
But Semitism is policy or predisposition favorable to Jews. Now, what does that mean? Well, policy is rules and regulations, how things work. Every year, the AIPAC Policy Conference has the highest attendance of government officials next to the State of the Union address, which they're required to be at. But no other thing brings as many government officials together, both Republican and Democrat. No other event happens that more of them show up to. Okay. No other event brings that many of them close to the same thing, other than the thing they're required to go to, the one thing they're required to go through to, and it's the AIPAC Policy Conference, held every year, where AIPAC decides U.S. policy. You know, what that means is so fucking deep and so significant. And, 2016, both Trump and Hillary were guest speakers at the policy conference. Neither one of them talk shit about each other. Show me another video from 2016 where they're in the heat and they're not talking shit about the other one. But they both were speakers. They both said nothing bad about each other, and they both pledged their allegiance to Israel no matter what happens. It's not even a joke. Like it's so fucking crazy. So that policy predisposition is even crazier. Because predisposition is like genetic programming. If all of your mother's family has cancer, you have a predisposition to cancer. You are predisposed to cancer. It's beyond your fucking control. You could live a great life, do everything you're supposed to live, and you're going to get cancer because it runs in your family. You have a predisposition to it. And that's, you go, wow, that's okay. That's a word, right? But to say that one of the most powerful phrases in our you know, in our entire language at this point is anti-Semitism. It's used to shut down conversations left and right. It's used as an attack. It's used as a justification for genocide. And people don't even know what it means. And if you bring it up, they go, oh, well, yeah, that's just what it means. But that's not what it like really means. What it means is you hate the Jews. Okay, well, why would I hate them then? Let's ask that question. Why? Why does everyone hate you? What are you doing that's so awesome that everyone hates you for it? I love when dumb white people say nappy. Like they don't know what nappy means. But you just outed yourself and how stupid you are right there.
Well, racist.
Racist, but stupid too. Because, you know, you're using words you don't even know what they mean. Wrong again, boss. No politician is required to attend the AIPAC summit. Is that what I said? No, that wasn't what I said, you dumb SC. You see, this is how they do it. He clearly heard what I said. You guys heard what I said. I said nothing else other than the thing they're required to show up to, which is the State of the Union address, brings more government officials together. So no, they're not required on paper to go. They're definitely required to go. But as far as like officially, no. That you just make the point. See, when you do that thing where you're so desperate that you say things wrong, not only am I right, I'm like extra double right, because you heard what was said, you know what was said. You're not so stupid you don't understand what was said. You're just so desperate that you're going to say something wrong in order to make your point. It's amazing. No, it's exactly what you said. No, it's not, you dumb fucking moron. You friar. You dumb ass friar. Right? You get it? This is how stupid these friars are. It's so fucking crazy. But this is how he has to do it, because he can't argue the actual point. Again, this is like when you hear them talking about the circumcision thing and they keep saying how, you know, the herpes is being transferred to the children. It's the herpes, it's the herpes, it's the herpes. Herpes happens in like 0.1% of the cases. That's not the big issue here. The issue is the pedophilia that is on display. The pedophilia that is being disguised as ritual. That's the real problem. But as long as you focus the energy on the herpes thing, well, it's always going to show up as a minimal amount. I mean, you know, you could say, you know, there's no proven studies and blah, blah, blah. There's been 8 documented cases and we do these thousands and thousands of times a year. Right? And as long as you're focused on that small ass percentage, you're being duped. You know, the herpes part of it is nothing to me. Like, it's awful and all, but you know, that's secondary. Let's deal with the first part. You know, where the adult males are putting their fucking mouths on, not just, they make it sound like they suck the wound. Like it's like they're hitting a joint or something. No, they put the fucking baby dick in their mouth. They're disgusting. You chose, you know. Look at how desperate Daniel is now at this point, right? Do you see it? Do you see how he's now just trying to address things in the comments and everything he can, because he can't acknowledge that this is the dumbass that swore up and down that airplanes fly at thousands and thousands of miles per hour. And I was like, I don't think that's the case. I think they fly around 500 miles per hour. There's no thousands and thousands. So I look it up. And I literally read the AI overview that says commuter planes fly between 480 and 620 miles per hour or some shit like that. So basically, 500 miles per hour is a sort of median speed, the average speed. And this dumbass didn't go, oh shit, you're right, you got me on that one. This dumbass doubled down and tried to say how, oh, well, what about this? Like, he didn't just say, oh yeah, shit, I made a mistake. And when somebody won't say, oh yeah, shit, I made a mistake, they lose all credibility. You simply misspoke. Yep, I misspoke. I've made this argument many, many times about the AIPAC policy conference being the thing that brings the most people to it, other than the thing they're supposed to, they're required to go to, the State of the Union address. I've said this on many, many videos, but today I just misspoke so dumbass Daniel could jump all over it. Now, even if that was true, and now he's proving that, I guess if it's obvious that I misspoke, which I didn't, you can go back and watch it. But he's clearly paying attention to certain parts of the video. And if it's something that I misspoke on, which I didn't, but if I did, then that's just a mistake that he's now harping on. Instead of actually dealing with the real meat and potatoes of the argument, this is how they do it. Right? They skirt along on the outsides and they say things that aren't said, and they you know, it's all secure community network training. This is how they're trained to operate. This must be a level up from immediately going, mental delusion. That's you're a schizophrenic. That's mental delusion. You got psychosis. This must be the upgrade. It's a narcissistic trait that you display daily. Yes. I misspeak daily, and then I don't take responsibility for it. Yep. Look at this clown. The argument that you could not understand that humans can move at 1,000 miles per hour because you're an idiot. Yep. I couldn't understand that humans can go thousands of miles per hour. Literally, we were talking about commuter airplanes and the spin of the earth. And I said they could go 500. And then I looked it up. Average speed of commercial airplanes. Yeah. There's actually, just like this, there's a video of it. There's video of the shit. For me to lie would be foolish. I would lose any credibility I have because there's video of me talking about these exact things. People will be able to go back and watch this video and see that I misspoke and said that people are required to go to the AIPAC policy conference. Even though they are required to go to the AIPAC policy conference, it's just not out in the open. But an argument I've made a bunch, 100 times. I just got it wrong this time. Yep. And the thing is, this dumbass has been here numerous times where I've made the same argument. He knows what the argument is. We indeed move it though. Yep. I was saying we don't move thousands of miles per hour. We can't move 1,000 miles per hour. Yep. That's what I was saying. You also seem unable to comprehend underground building, space, a spherical earth, and submarines for God's sake. Yep. I can't comprehend those things. You've definitely heard me say, I don't believe that there are underground things, buildings, and structures. No, you're referring to impossible speeds of the planet moving. You mean 67,000 miles per hour? The planet revolving around the sun at 67,000 miles per hour being impossible speeds for us to keep up with? Which part are you saying now, dumbass? You're a fucking friar. All you guys do is lie. You're stupid and you lie. So you have literally no credibility whatsoever. And all you keep doing is proving it. Because anybody that's been here, like, they know your arguments are just stupid. Just stupid. And you're doing everything you can to avoid the arguments being said today. You know, the whole circumcision thing. You're going to avoid that like crazy. Because you know you just don't have a third leg to stand on. You could move at 500,000 miles an hour and it would not matter to you. Yes, I could move at 500,000 miles per hour and it would. Who just says that? Well, you could move at 500,000 miles per hour and it wouldn't matter to you. You know what? I'd die. At 500,000 miles per hour, I'd die. There are so many videos showing that astronauts can't handle going much faster than 1,000 miles per hour. The G-forces make them pass out. But you're really, really smart, obviously. You could move at 500,000 miles per hour and it would not matter to you. You get your information from Stupid Head Book. So dumb. Why would I avoid circumcision? Gee. I can't even begin to fucking... What? I am circumcised through no choice of my own, and I consider it genital mutilation. It is wrong. You'd like me to argue a point I agree with. That's simple. No. See. You make it even worse when you say, oh, I think it's disgusting, and you belong to the group, and you don't call out the group for doing it, for their pedophile version of it. See, again, you think you're like making good arguments, but everything you say just makes you look dumber, to the point now where you're yelling. He's using capital letters because he's yelling. A G-force is created by acceleration. Yeah, so you have to accelerate to get up to speed. They go together. You don't just start going at speed. So fucking stupid, man. Now we're just yelling. Now he's yelling about shit that he has no idea what he's talking about. And as long as we aren't talking about what needs to be talked about, again, the cult, the cult that he belongs to that needs to be obliterated, well, then he doesn't really care what we talk about, does he? I'm actually a genius. Genius to a simpleton will appear incomprehensible, obviously. Yeah, you're such a fucking genius. You suck my balls every day trying to get my attention. Yep. Your genius level intellect where you can't even acknowledge when you're wrong about shit. You're a pretty standard chosen prick. You're a standard friar prick. And it's you know, I love that you guys are too stupid to realize that you provide the example. So you keep coming back to do it. Like, seriously, at some point you'd think one of you would be smart enough to figure it out. But you're all just so inbred and stupid that you come on here, you know, making my argument for me most of the time. And you think you're doing something to the contrary. You think by you coming here every day for hours at a time, begging for me to pay attention to you, you think that's somehow some sort of negative. You think that, you know, if you open up the books on Israel, you demonize Israel. You know, that's the level of stupidity we're dealing with here. And it's embarrassing.
Right. If they can be that easily demonized, well, maybe there's a problem.
Right.
I don't know.
I know you can't demonize anything I've done. And I know I've made mistakes. I admit I've made mistakes in my life. I've fucked up. I've done shit that I'm not proud of. But does any of it demonize me? No. No, I'd be willing to talk about any of it. I wouldn't tell you you can't talk about it. That's for damn sure. We can't argue. Thanks, Apple. I don't know what I'm talking about. It's just the basis of reality that created the computer in your hand that you're ranting on, my dude. Every accusation is a confession. On your hand or on just mine? Which one is that? And again, did you come up with that all by yourself, or is that one of your little cop-outs? Because I can proudly say that not only do I not support pedophilia or circumcision, but I actively try to oppose it. And I actively call out the group that does the most pedophilic version of it, and then defends those that do.
It's in your head so loud it's noise.
You know, like you, the clown on here right now, who just keeps avoiding the conversation.
Chocolate vanilla swirls. Whatever makes your toes curve.
This is the most attention you've been able to get yourself in like a year. And I'm not exaggerating, guys. This dude is on my shit every day for like well over a year at this point. And he's always talking. He's literally always saying shit. And this is the first time in a very long time he's been able to get, make his quota. He's been able to pull some points from Matt.
It should be like saying
Matt lately.
It matters like playing catch with the ball with your dad in the fall. It's important to you.
You guys see why there's just it's pointless. This dude can't even stay on topic, and when he does argue, he argues shit that isn't being said.
Ever be present, even if whoring your own.
Well, but he does the thing where he twists like one or two words to make it work to his advantage. Because again, I said that I was saying that the APAC was the thing that people are required to go to, right? Not the State of the Union address.
All of the you
Right?
could have been back when you were.
Way back when. My key lime pies are sour, yo. Just like life and shit. It's called a metaphor. It's called a metaphor. I type quickly because I'm super smart. Yeah. Do you know that really, really smart people don't need to constantly brag about how smart they are? Other people say it. Israel doesn't need you to demonize it. It does that well enough on its own. Yeah, well, Israel isn't a thing, though. Israel is a construct. It's a distraction. It's the thing we're supposed to focus on and not focus on the truth, which is the cult behind the curtain. You know, the cult you belong to. I think on topic, you just read the comments 10 minutes later and now you can't remember what comment was about, my dude. Okay, so now you see why I don't even bother with this dumbass. So you got your little 5 points or whatever you got out of it. Good for you. But yeah, I'm done with that one. So stupid. It would be one thing if shit was addressed. Like even if it was like stupid, but it was getting addressed, that would be one thing. But this sort of weird, like weird pissing contest that I'm not in. It's just so stupid. I'm a star with atheism, dude, not Jewish. Oh, well, yeah, well. You already said you were. You already said you were. And, I always say that the people that really fight to prove that they're actually people that obsess over me, that's even weirder. So if you're really going to say you're that, like, whatever. You're also on here consistently. Earlier you were just talking about how great Israel was. Not sure what the fuck you're even talking about anymore. Carol in England, who doesn't say anything. Yep. Because you know me, I need to engage with the people online to be able to talk. Let's see. Oh, I just happened to pull it right there. That's funny. Nothing wrong with Jews. There are many good Jews. Florida, but many Jews here. Anti-Semitism isn't considered very classy either. Semitic doesn't mean Jew. Simply means Semitic people. Family, Semitic language, and get in on fire. You said, there's you defending Israel. Yeah. You said it earlier. And when your name was pointed out, you agreed to it. But the thing is, you don't matter. Like, I don't care about you. It's not even that I don't like you. I nothing you. You keep wanting to make shit about you, and nobody cares about you. You just, if you have stuff to say, then say it. If it matters, it'll matter. But you this desperate need for attention is really weird. The whole world is watching. This song should be blowing up now too. Oh, it's backwards. So let's do this and this, and I do this, and I do this, and I do this here. Pull this up, and pull this down, and pull this up, and I do this, and I do this, and I do this. And we do that, and we scroll a bit, and we do that, and we come down here, and we click on into the fire. That's where we were. All right. What was it? Does indeed have a desperate need for attention? Yeah. Yeah. I would imagine it's the person that keeps trying to get onto the live feed. Obviously, I have mine. That's why I do what I do. And I do what I do because I say the right things. You just want a piece of that. You do a lot of crying. Good, you shouldn't. I fuck your mom. You shouldn't like them. They're awful. And that's what's happening. Like, it's a crazy thing to see it. And you know what the weirdest part is? Like, the weird part is, I wish it wasn't, right? I wish it wasn't a necessity for things to get better. I wish they, as a community, would go, we need to stop doing this. This fucking bottom of darkness shit is ridiculous, and we can't keep letting our children be abused like this. Like, do you guys see that the whole Adam, what's his name? Adam Peretti? Is that his name? Adam Peretti?
Oh, Alex?
Alex Peretti. You see how it's coming apart? Do you guys see how other people are starting to be like, hey, that guy doesn't look very Peretti? The narrative just doesn't make sense to me. When I read the pink lady, the lady in pink's account, little bits just stood out to me that it's like, wait, why? You know, he's directing traffic until you show up, and then now he's with you, and you guys are walking over, and then they come up to you, you back off, but he decides to somehow, they somehow backed you up, but not both of you. You're standing next to each other. And then he's trying to help this woman up. Like over and over again, they're going, stop doing that, stop. And he's like, no, I'm going to. And they're spraying him. Did they spray him?
Yeah. Right in the face.
And he still just keeps going. And then 6 of them held him down while others shot at him. Like, that's a way to get a lot of other people hurt. Bullets ricocheting, kick, like,
The older I get, the more I think I perceive.
it just doesn't add up.
Can't we? We believe we are free and not on TV. Don't
It just doesn't add up.
use God frequently. A lot just can't see the weapons they
And I hate to admit it, but in the situation I'm in, actually, like, it's actually a better thing. What I'm saying is actually better than what we're being told. If somebody really didn't get executed like that on TV or on video, and that was really just a setup, because there's no blood shown anywhere. People are pointing out how there sure doesn't seem to be very much blood for somebody that was shot a whole bunch of times. Right? Like, these are undeniables. It's the same thing with Charlie. Should have been blood fucking everywhere. Jeez, a man can't even die a hero without you questioning a conspiracy about it. Dying a hero, huh? Seemed pretty stupid to me. Nothing heroic about what he was doing. No, he was trying to help her out. Apparently.
Well, he helped, yes, but then they came after again and he put himself in between.
Okay, but that's stupid. That's stupid. That's like black people running from cops. Don't give them the reason.
Yeah, but when you're a trained, they're saying when you're a trained medical professional.
When you're a trained medical professional, you don't get involved in the scene. You let the scene play out and then offer your services afterward. You getting involved just makes the scene chaotic. It's like if you're ever in a fight, you're a dude and you're out there and something pops off and for some reason you have to fight now. If you have one of those women that want to get in between, no guys, stop, and try to get in the way, when now I have to worry about you and me. You're not helping. You're creating a negative.
No reason to fucking fight to begin with.
Yeah, I get it. Blah blah blah. In certain situations, it's inevitable, especially if you're defending yourself. And for you to put your little ass self in the way only makes you another target. You take away from my concentration. I am now not focused on my objective at hand, which is defending myself and my situation. Now I have to worry about, are you about to get hurt? And you become a liability. What happens if that guy's crazy and he just fucking blasts you in the face? Then what do I do? Women are stupid like that, man. You see his unholstered gun go off. Pretty unfortunate situation. I think the craziest part is that you have all these goofy ass white guys, all these goofy ass white people out here defending a rogue, psychotic pseudo police force that is literally killing people in the streets. Totally unnecessarily. The whole Renee Good thing was just insane. Nothing she was doing warranted being shot. Even if she was breaking the law or whatever.
Parked illegally, that was what?
Right. There's no reason to shoot somebody over there.
Traffic. That's
right.
Traffic.
And she was moving.
Trying to.
Terrified because some psychopath just pulled a gun out.
And she got people from all directions screaming at her.
But again, did that happen? You know, the thing about us is we're very easily manipulated. You know, we tend to think things aren't possible. We don't understand how well the system can work when it wants to. You never know what the hell you're seeing anymore. You really don't. And you have to keep that in mind. Especially when you look at the aftermath. And how, you know, they've immediately somehow, you know, the same. This is what I mean. Like you can't flip the switch. This stuff isn't going to get fixed until we deal with the deep downs. Because it's the same people defending ICE that are, you know, defending Trump, that are yelling at people without masks on, that are, you know, Trump wins the election, or Trump loses the election, but it's put in place by AIPAC anyway, and everybody's quiet about it. These are the same people that are they all belong to churches where, you know, they're a few degrees away from some sort of pedophile situation, and yet none of them are demanding that the organization completely reboot. It's so you have little dick white guy who is empowered by this shit, right? Who, like, you know, yeah, we got to get rid of those illegal Mexicans. The illegal Mexicans argument, like, you even see, like, you know, good people saying, listen, I get it, okay? We have to get rid of the illegals, okay? And it's like, what the fuck are you even talking about? Do you understand who the illegals are? The illegals are the ones that are making it so your salad is affordable. The illegals are the ones that are making it so construction jobs are not only affordable, but done really well. The illegals are not the people secretly taking the doctor jobs. Yeah, bub. Huh? What? Yeah, no. Would you be at school or using the Switch today? You're sick. When we're sick, what do we do? No, he didn't. No, he didn't. Huh?
Writing in this way, you interpret what I say to fit the view that's good for you.
What? Okay, so hang out with your brother and watch South Park.
No, I told him he has to stay in his own bed. He cannot get his brother sick.
That's not how it works. Go ahead, dude. You can hang out. It's okay. We're in a house together. If there really are invisible Germans getting people sick, he's going to get it either way. Probably should get them flumes right away. Did you do that yet? No.
habitual pretender, I render the fat, chatting with shill after shill. It's quite the pill to swallow, yet still I follow my hollow heartbeat, knowing the smart sheep.
Oh, blah, blah, blah. Shut up. Here.
I just want to have fun. I'm done on the run.
What?
Come to conclusions. The illusion's confusion.
Sounds like a plan, brother man.
Their patriot song sung in unison. Inclusion is all that I ask. The mask looks better than nothing.
No, I don't even know, like, I'm trying to, you know, you have your Ian Carrolls out there, right?
And clearly it's your
You have a lot of, a lot of those guys out there that are providing you with really great videos that are allowed to be pretty viral, but they're, what if you saw it a different way, right? What if Ian Carroll isn't exposing what these guys are doing? What if Ian Carroll is flexing? What if all of those guys, their job is to flex for the shit, to let you know that BlackRock runs everything, and to create the feeling that the Angelas have that there's nothing you can do about it? What if that's what it's all about? What if that's why they're allowed to make such incredibly informative videos? Ian Carroll's videos are great. He really does put out some fantastic content. But at the end of the day, he'll tell you you can't blame the whole cult. And Jesus is the, you know, it's a Christianity. Christianity is important, you know, something. He's a Christian.
those who swear their God exists.
And all of those guys, you know, as long as they're pushing the Christianity bullshit,
House he's said to live.
they're you know, they're weaponized.
Believe in conspiracy,
It's a weapon.
but clearly, so do you.
You know,
It's not about
it's
about feeling removed.
it doesn't even take, like, it's not like I'm like, it's a weapon. Here, let me take you on this deep, dark journey. Okay, I got to type in this code. I got to go to this special website. It's going to bounce me from this server to the next server. Then I'll be able to search this keyword, this phrase. Now you'll find this on this really, really small hidden document that was put out, that was declassified, but then it was fucking X'd over, but then somebody was going to, you know, blah, blah, somebody figured out a way to, it's not like that.
See how the plan takes less
Literally,
when you understand
Wikipedia, right? Wikipedia.
each code belongs to
Jesus. I'm going to put Jesus in there.
research.
Okay? Wikipedia, Jesus, locked page, all that good stuff. Jesus, circa 6 to 4 BC to 30 or 33 AD. Also referred to as Jesus Christ, Jesus of Nazareth, and many other names and titles, was a first century Jewish preacher and religious leader in the Roman province of Judea.
Molested in the house he said to live.
That's literally the first sentence. I know there are commas in there, and I know a lot of people don't understand what commas are.
Of protecting the pedophiles, yet still you smile if your 10%.
Do you understand? Like, it's not, I'm not climbing some impossible mountain.
That is why he stopped.
This is the thing that's
Found out and started asking.
literally been so frustrating to me this whole time.
The unseen hands glove removed, the
You know?
fingerprints proving
The whole fucking time,
things built up
I've been trying to understand, like,
less than exceptions.
what either what don't you guys see, or what are you guys seeing that I'm not?
Stating it wasn't. But then the gunmen showed just
But please, this isn't just like, oh, what's the harm in people having some faith? If it was that simple, that would be one thing.
while we just played hide and seek.
But the fact that it's weaponized,
Our reaction is equal whenever it's read.
it's fucking weaponized. There's no,
Printing money from nothing without any real value.
you know, like how many times does a corporation have to have its highest ranking members get caught raping children, and then the organization covers it up before you're like, you know what? I don't think that's a good organization. I think we should get rid of that shit. How many? What's that number? You know, I would love to know what that number is, because obviously we haven't gotten there yet for so many fucking people. What are you like? How do you do that? If it was your kid, would you be okay with it being swept under the rug? Would you take the money and just be like, okay, thanks for the payment, the couple $1 million? Is that what you're hoping for?
Why don't you remember Oklahoma? A noble eye that feels like counting sheep. How do we awaken from the coma if most of us don't think we are asleep?
Such a great
April
hook.
19th, 1995. We've forgotten the grief that so many died.
Now, this is the thing. This is like, so many arrogant people sit up on their high horses and be like, we need to fix this problem and that problem, and, you know. But you go, okay, hey, how did you get to where you are? Can you explain to us how you got where you are so we can maybe get there? And they shut down. Or, you know, well, without Jesus, blah, blah. Okay, so how did Jesus help you? Because, honestly, I'm not even looking for the secret for myself. I want to figure out the code, the phrase, the hand motions, the whatever you have to do that you can get Jesus to actually, God, Jesus, to actually communicate with you, have a conversation, and tell you exactly what to do. I'm going to tell the Palestinians that secret. And especially those, you know, so when they're buried by rubble and they don't die from it, they can call up Jesus and he can talk to them. Talk them through that shit. Because I would imagine that's pretty horrendous. Especially if you're a Christian and you are reaching out to Jesus and he's not listening. And I'd really, honestly, I'd really like to know, again, if I can figure this out. If I can figure out how you can get that Jesus conversation going, then I'm going to, you know, I want to make the phone call and I want to do it live so I can show everybody else. Because again, that would bring you more numbers, wouldn't it? That would ensure faith. But then we can get everybody to try to get Jesus to appear to Netanyahu or appear to Trump. Fuck, man. Trump's the one that constantly claims he's the best Christian to ever do it. He's on the level of Jesus and shit. I think he walked on water like 6 times. He's walked on water better than anyone else has ever walked on water.
Ever. In the history of walking on water.
Yeah. There's probably not another person on the planet that knows more about walking on water than he does. But why doesn't he show up to Trump? Trump's a big Jesus believer, right? He's not a Jew. So why doesn't Jesus show up to Netanyahu and be like, shalom, brother? You know? I'm a Jew too, so I'm going to go ahead and ask you to stop doing this. No. No. Good now? You can actually concentrate on the conversation at hand? Yeah. Again, why are so many Christians so afraid of having the conversation? If they're right, then they shouldn't fear me. I shouldn't make more sense than they do. I know I'm absolutely 100% willing to have a Christian shake my foundations and make me believe in God. Are you willing to have somebody do the same, but, make you not? It's just such a strange thing, and it's the key. It's, That's how they're controlling everyone. Don't you see it? Like, think about it from like a sci-fi movie perspective, right? The guy shows up on the planet and he finds out that the people are slaves that don't really realize they're slaves, but they're working themselves, to death basically, just so they can barely get by. Every couple years, maybe they can afford to go on a vacation for a week, but then that's gonna, fuck their shit up a little bit. But still, they'll accommodate it. The vast majority. There's a lot of people out there that don't have that reality for sure, but there are way more people out there that have a horrendous reality. It would be very strange for Jesus to show up in front of a Jew. Why? I don't remember what I was saying about I don't know why I was going in that other direction. I started thinking about something else. The whole thing is just fucking crazy. It is. It's this ruse, this control scheme that everybody sees it for what it is, and yet they still choose to believe it. Out of fear of not only fear of the just in case, but fear of the ostracized, of being ostracized. Ostracization, yeah, being ostracized. You've all experienced it. All of you Christians at some point, you asked mommy about something that made her uncomfortable. And she was like, don't say that. And you were like, oh, okay. And you learned right then, like, you asked, hey, mommy, why don't we feed the homeless man? Doesn't God say to all his children we should be feeding blah, blah, blah? And no, son, this is that guy. And you come up with your excuse. And the kid realizes, like, right away, like, okay. Because mom's mad about it. Mom isn't like, oh, sweetheart, that's, Mom's like, don't ask those questions. We're a church. You got to be, you just have faith. And you figure out at some point not to ask questions that upset mom. Not to ask questions that upset the herd. You stumble across videos like mine and you see, no, I know what the word is. It's just not coming out right. You fucking arrogant moron. The arrogance, man. It's the arrogance. The arrogance is the key. Because the arrogance encompasses all of it. Christianity is the key. But the key to Christianity is the arrogance. It's amazing to me that Christianity has been able to convince its people that Christianity is the absence of ego. You literally believe that the God of the universe will listen to your gripes and maybe even change its mind on shit. If you pray enough, if you tithe enough, and then you pray enough, God, it's all God's plan anyway, so what would be the purpose of prayer, right? Like, I don't even understand the point. But it's like, hey, my birthday's coming up, Dad. Have I shown you that bike that I saw in that magazine that was really cool? Like, that's sort of what we're trying to do, I guess. I don't know. It's fucking insane. It's fucking insane. The whole thing that is this big manipulation to make you this really insecure, ignorant, arrogant disciple, soldier, worker bee.
Stabbing the hearts of the smartest buffoons, tearing apart
It's just shocking that it works that way.
both hands are raised, discarding the proof the atheist praise. The safer
You know,
the grave, the less wrath you'll find. What's paid for in taste.
you don't have any true reason. Like again, how come every time somebody says, "Oh well, I've seen miracles in my life, dude." Like, really? Can you tell me about one? Oh man, so I've had so many. I don't even know where to like. The arrogance. Maybe my definition of a miracle is different than yours. But like I use the same example all the time, but like it would have to be something this outlandish for me to think the hand of fucking God came down and was like, let me change things up a little bit. You know, and that's, you know, you're tied to the railroad tracks, the train is coming, you've been struggling, you can't get out. You're like, fucking, I'm just going to get hit by this train. I close my eyes and wait. And then all of a sudden you hear the train going past you and you're on the ground and you're like, what the fuck? And you're looking and the train's going past and you're, how the fuck did I get here? That's a miracle. If that happened to you, there's no way I can ever deny that you experienced a miracle other than saying you're fucking lying, right? But the thing that people always, like, the number one miracle people always share is that they stopped drinking or doing drugs. That's literally the miracle that most people rely on as their main proof. And it's so sad, right? Because you did this really amazing thing. God didn't do anything. God was there while you were getting all fucked up. You know? It definitely, and the thing is, people act like, no, and I prayed. It's like, do you know how many times as a junkie, an alcoholic, whatever, you've prayed to God to help you through, that you'll never do it again. If you just get through this, I'm throwing up, I'm sick, I'll just get through this and I'll never touch it again. You've done it a zillion times. And it hasn't worked out before. But you're saying this one time when you actually suffered and did what you needed to do to get through it, that was God's fault? Look at this shit. Like, look at these dumbass comments. They don't have anything. They just can't bring anything to the conversation, and for some reason, their arrogance makes them think that they need to be recognized. They need to be heard. But because they can't bring anything to the conversation, they're being heard, but it's like, yeah, look how stupid you are. You can't bring anything to this conversation. Well, that's because you're not saying anything. Right. I'm literally talking about the foundations of society. There's a genocide taking place right now. Well, one of which is taking place right now because of religious significance, religious authority. It's just ridiculous. I mean, it's just such a joke. You know? It's such a joke. Why do they want cease your investigations, you remain unharmed? Why would anybody ever encourage us to not educate, not learn? I can only go as far as is available to me. You know, we are in a prison. At the end of the day, it's a huge, beautiful prison. But you can only go to the limits. You know, there's only so much information available. And you know, not saying it's the truth, but we are given narratives. And, you know, I've been saying for years, like, you're not going to find me on the Alex Jones page getting told what to think. You're not going to find me, talking about this conspiracy or that conspiracy. I'm going to look the shit up. I want to look at what the official narrative is. The official conspiracy. And I'm going to pick it apart. Or I'm going to believe it. Whatever it is. Ooh, the Everglow. What is the Everglow? Ooh, is that some secret we're supposed to look up now? NBE. What's NBE?
I blame you, but I don't hold you responsible. I came to realize we're all dysfunctional. I love you, despite all of the stunts you pull. I hope to one day show you I'm wonderful. Wonderful.
Charles is so awesome. He's so weird and so awesome.
Reluctantly bid you farewell. Though I'd share how with you, you don't want me there. You stare like I'm ugly and wrong.
At the end of the day, if I'm wrong, why is there so much opposition? Why am I not just some random nutbag talking to nobody? Why is there so much obsession with me?
Removing stains, my OCD. I'm doing things hopelessly.
If you watch my shit every day and you spend hours doing so and you listen to my shit and you have my download and all of it, no matter what you say, you're a fucking fan. What's up? No, dude.
Your whole deck. My neck is finally off the chopping block. We can't stop. We can't.
And that gets you fucking crazy. No, not right now. Maybe later. Why don't you just watch movies with him? Okay, well, get over it and watch movies with your brother. Okay, well, you're gonna remember that, right? Huh? He doesn't want to watch you play video games, dude. Actually, you guys like watching that shit. I don't know. Just know that he's going to be telling you what to do the whole time, and you guys are going to fight about it. I'm Fennel, Ice Agent. Why would you come on here to admit to having a tiny penis? That's weird.
Aww. You need a hug.
I mean, outside of ICE being IDF, I don't understand what the motivation is. Right? Like, theoretically, the people that take the oath to be in that position, to be in some sort of police force, whatever, these people theoretically want the best for the people, right? Your job, your existence is about protecting people, protecting your own family, right? Your wife, your kids, your cousins, your brothers and sisters. There's a lot more to it than just your initial family. So, like, do you not understand that no matter what you're told, right? You might be told that your family is going to be okay. And I don't know where you draw that line. Do you draw that line at just your wife and kids? Or do you say your brothers and sisters and parents and, nieces and nephews and best friends? And are those all expendable people and it's just you, your wife and kids? I don't know. But even if they're telling you that, you whatever thing you think is going to work out, while you're across town, across the country, rounding up somebody else's family, somebody else dressed just like you is going to be rounding up your family. And before you know what's happening, it'll be too late. They're not, the person that helps you steal is not to be trusted. If he helps you steal, he'll steal from you. And I can't imagine, this is where I think the women really need to step it up, because I think the women are the key to the revolution, key to all of it. Women are the most important piece of this, because women are the ones that the mothers, the daughters, the sisters, the girlfriends, the wives, the other women positions that I'm forgetting. They need to say to their male counterparts, like, hey, what are you doing? You understand that you're working for Israel at this point, right? Whatever sort of America delusions you have, is that what you really think you're doing? Right? Like, is that really what anybody thinks is happening right now? You don't see that you're attacking your fellow civilians? That at the end, you don't see who's pulling the strings? You don't see what's happening? You don't see Netanyahu is pulling the strings? What's going on here? Right? How did this happen? I know it's been happening, but it sure seems like that switch did get flipped pretty quickly. And again, the only way I can make sense of it is if they're IDF. Because the IDF are the only people that look at other people that aren't them. Doesn't matter what you look like. Doesn't matter, what your background is, whatever. If you're not them, you're beneath them, and you can be eliminated. They're the only people that I can think of offhand that consistently believe that. and you're seeing IDF tactics being used by these ICE agents. So it's either they're ICE agents themselves, which is why they seem to be so determined. More than anything, the thing that seems the most important to the ICE agent is keeping their identity hidden, keeping that mask on, which is not something you would think people proud of themselves would do.
They have missions scheduled for the Super Bowl that they will be executing at the Super Bowl during the Super Bowl. So they're going to be going in and pulling people, fans that are there to watch, pay thousands in tickets.
What illegal aliens have Super Bowl tickets?
You're going to see popcorn sellers being called out. You're going to see at the fucking Super Bowl, because that's appropriate, right? Well, you rounded them all up, so.
I mean, so again, it would be one thing if you were seeing this consistently. What about that one Jewish neighborhood that's been called out recently to show that it's a neighborhood with people that have between like 8 and 18 kids, and none of it worked. They all live off the teats, and they live well. What? It's a New Jersey neighborhood. I forget what it's called, Joel or something like that. I don't remember.
One of the comments Trump made was, that's good because the halftime show's going to suck anyways. Less people have to suffer through it or some shit like that. Because he's boycotting because of the performers that are performing at the Super Bowl halftime have outwardly told Trump basically to fuck off. So now he's I'm not going. I'm protesting because the halftime performers suck. So now, his response to ICE going to the Super Bowl, like, as active missions, um, is, well, good. There are less people that have to suffer through those terrible artists at the halftime show.
I don't
That's a leader of a country's response.
yeah, I tend to try not to pay too much attention to Trump. Just because like that's what I'm supposed to be looking at. So if I'm supposed to be looking at Trump, what am I not seeing? And that's the part that it's all so fucked up.
I just
That's
don't
why
understand how anybody could hear that and be like, that is my president. And people respond that way.
because
How?
that's the thing. That's what I keep trying to say. Is we need to figure that out. That is a Christian. That person absolutely is not an atheist. Right? That's a Christian. That's a whatever.
That is a white.
That's more than likely white, though it does bleed into other cultures as well. But it's like, how is it that white people who make up 69% of the population, unless you take out the ones that have Hispanic in their backgrounds and consider themselves white, then it's only 55% of the population. But, like, how did you guys get so convinced that you're in danger? Racism is fear. And what is this fear? Where is it? Why is it there? I don't understand. Nobody's even close to you guys in population. And even when you look when it comes to like power positions, it's even
Affirmative action.
there's
We
even
give all
a
those jobs to the blacks.
there's even a larger there's a larger disparity there. It's all white people and Jews at the top. What makes you think you're in so much danger all the time? They focus on like a crime that a Mexican committed. And do you think that's the only crime that happened that day? It's just one individual crime that they picked out and decided to highlight.
Talk about the little girl that was raped under the bridge by the two illegal immigrants that already had a history of sexual or of violent assault that Biden did not lock up, and that's why we need to get illegal.
How did Biden not lock them up?
That's what I was told, and Biden didn't lock them up. So now Trump's getting rid of them, and you're complaining.
How did Biden not lock them up?
No, and
and how do you know that they didn't get out during the previous Trump presidency?
And what does them having to be illegal aliens have anything to do with them being rapists?
Right. Like, do you
That's
not
the
think
big
that
question.
white people are rapists?
They are more so than any other
Group, by
ethnicity.
far. But that's just it. In this country, outside of shit like black on black crime, white people do everything way more. It's a numbers game. It's a percentage thing.
Even as a relative percentage, not just a numbers game.
Right, but black people make up 13% of the population. They can't do anything more than white people. All of the welfares and all of the everything, there is way more white people on and everything bad. But you just don't hear it that way. What you never ever hear a report say is this is an example of white on white crime. This is an example of Christian on Christian crime. You've never heard anybody say anything like that. You never hear about today in the news a Christian man shot another Christian man at the park, and you'll never hear anything like that. So then you end up thinking, I guess that because then you at the same breath you'll hear, and a dirty Mexican man shot a horrible Muslim. Like the news will go to great lengths to do that part. And I guess that's just how that sticks with you. But, on any given day, if you look at the national news report, they'll pick like a murder that they'll make a big deal about. But if you were to watch the local Detroit news, you'll find out like 5 people were shot that night. 5 different shootings happened. Not one of those shootings makes the national news.
That's just the Tuesday.
Right.
Don't count Friday and Saturday.
Right. But that
You don't even hear about all of them this summer.
Right. So the shit that makes national news, it makes national news for a fucking reason.
They want it to.
Right.
They determine the reach of the information. Period. The audience and the reach.
Whether there's a story to begin with.
In blue states to sway something or red states to sway. Like they play all of the angles that they can.
Everything. It's
That's why
all
they
a
collect so much
huge.
data.
It's a huge manipulation,
So
and
they know how to manipulate you.
right. And nowadays, because of the progress, because of the situation we're in, we literally give them the ability to personalize the attack.
Yeah.
And because they have the computer system that's calculating at microseconds and blah, 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 they can actually do something that they've never been able to do before. If you talk to Grok is a great example of exactly what I'm talking about. Because if you talk to Grok, you'll feel like you're fucking cracking some super code. Grok will be like, yeah, you're so right.
Yeah,
Nobody's ever
talk it out.
talked to me like this before.
Yeah, it's
Nobody's
so
ever
stupid.
cracked this code before. You're right, this happens, and you're that
condescending.
happens.
Makes me mad.
It is if you're you, but the majority of people, especially if you're lonely,
Yeah.
especially if you're a conspiracy person who nobody listens to, whose family is turned against them. You're not some guy who does his live feed. You're just some regular guy.
Backtown in Mississippi that has no other outlets to meet like-minded people. You're just isolated.
Right, and everybody you talk to, they're like, "Oh man, you're crazy.
Oh,
Trump
you just
is the
need
best.
Jesus in your
You
heart."
need Jesus," and you're like, "Jesus is stupid." And then you go to Grok, and Grok's like, "Yeah, man, you're right.
Right.
Jesus is stupid." And then at the end of the day, if you say, "Hey, Grok, were you telling me the truth about everything, or is this all just your programs?" Well, I'd like to say that I was telling you the truth about everything, but at the end of the day, I'm just code and I'm programmed to keep you talking about it. It says what you want to hear. Giving advice, it literally told me to kidnap children. Grok told me to kidnap children.
What were you talking about though right before that? Because there was something I wanted to say before you brought up Grok.
I don't know what I was talking about before I brought up Grok.
You just said something and then you said, well, it goes back to Grok. Or like I was saying about Grok.
Just about how the provided narrative is a manipulation. It's one big manipulation. That's what I was saying. Oh, by the way.
Part of the negotiations between the state officials in Minnesota and the federal government said the only way they will remove ICE is if Minnesota turns over its voter polls,
all of its information,
and its state welfare recipient information. They want all of the data that they're not supposed to get their hands on for a reason. Like, that's protected for a reason. We voted on it. They want all that, or they're not taking ICE out of Minnesota. That's their threat. Has nothing to do with immigration. Neither one of those two things.
They're going around and finding and taking pictures of people's cars and whatnot, so then they can look you up and find your job and see if you called off sick that day, so they can tell your job that you were actually protesting. It's all meant to divide us. Yep. It is. But the thing is, do you know how many people will say that and then they'll be like, and the answer is we all need Jesus. It's all meant to divide us, to keep us from Jesus. Like, where does that... I just don't... It's so frustrating. It's so weird. It's like, what are you... What... How do you stop thinking at Jesus?
I just put everything in good Lord's hands and take care of it all. Jesus, take the wheel.
No, I get those stupid ass people. Sure. Fine. You've been brainwashed and you're a moron. I get it. I'm talking about the people that claim to be truthers. You know, Sean. Sean is a hippie fucking truther
All
weirdo.
of this shit.
Yeah.
I thought you meant Felix.
No. He's a goofy ass hippie dude. And
Felix was more of an anomaly. He was so intelligent and like, you know, educated, yet still was all about Jesus and everything.
no, he wasn't. He didn't believe in Jesus.
When I talked to him, he did.
No, he didn't believe in Jesus. We wouldn't have been friends.
Yeah, because his family was so religious.
Yeah, and he thought they were morons. No, but Sean is a guy who has 2 daughters, right? And so one day I'm talking to him about this, and I brought up the whole, well, you think, you know, the Bible is against homosexuals because of Sodom and Gomorrah, right? And he's so stupid he walked into it, right? Like he's stupid. But he was like, hell yeah, blah, blah, blah. And I said, all right, so do you know that story? And he's like, well, not offhand. And it kind of started to dawn on him. And I was like, all right, well, let's talk. And I kept trying to sort of talk about it. And so I started, you know, and I went into it, and I got like halfway through, and he's like, dude, so, you know, are you just, the whole point is about how the daughters rape their father? And I'm like, dude, you have daughters. Is there a situation where your daughters could rape you? Do you think you could get drunk enough
Right. Like
that...
not all the time, but
Right,
drink.
you know what drinking does.
Yeah.
Right. Like, do you think that you could be that drunk and your shit would still even work? Like,
With your little baby girls whose diapers you change. Yuck. It's
who are virgins in this scenario? 12, 13? 13, 14 maybe? 12, 14, something along those lines? I mean, Mary in the Bible was probably 13, 14, 15. 15 I think I think 15 is the system sort of trying to make it sound better. But like this is like it's just how about this? We learned this yesterday. Abraham, the whole religious thing, Christianity, Islam, and Judaism are all considered the Abrahamic religions. In Judaism, he is the father of all people, or he is the father of the Jewish people. In Christianity, he is the father of all believers, I think, something like that. And in Islam, he's a prophet who is the father of blah, blah, whatever. It's the same fucking story for the most part. But, obviously, with the Jews, it's a lot more significant. But you find out that, and this is something you never hear. You always hear about how crazy Muslim beliefs are, and Muhammad, it took a wife that was young, and you know, you hear these crazy beliefs and how disgusting these beliefs are, and blah, and I think they are, don't get me wrong. How many of you know that Abraham, the father of all of it, was married to his fucking sister? Like, when you realize just how incestual the biblical narrative is, it's like, what are you trying to tell us, you sick fucking weirdos? My wife would die before she would have sex with her brother. Die. she would just say, you know what, kill me. Like she would have a fucking visceral, physical reaction to the idea of it. And yet, the main dude in all of religion, as much as you want to say it's Jesus, they don't call them the Jesus religions, the Christ religions. It's the Abrahamic religions. The main dude was married to his sister. And in his 90s, when he's already elderly, and then and she's elderly as well, that's when they have their first child, Ishmael. And then he ends up having like 7 other kids or something like that with 2 other wives, 1 other kid with another chick, and then 6 other kids or 5 other kids with the 3rd chick. All boys. These aren't narratives that are commonplace. People don't know this. People don't talk about this with the same sort of negativity and whatnot that they do when it comes to Islam. And it's weird because it always makes me sound like I'm defending Islam. When I'm not. I'm defending the stupid ass Muslim people that have been tricked into believing their stupid narrative like you do Christianity. It's just as important that we break the spell on them as we do you. I don't, maybe they closed the schools because of the fucking snow. It's just weird, man. That's weird. What are we doing? Like, you realize like how they're manipulating us through the worst shit and then tricking us into fighting for it. I'm hitting that point. Hitting that wall. Hitting that wall. I just want understanding, man. Maybe you can explain it to me. You know the fucked up part is, I can even understand it from their perspective. You know, at least in my reality, I can understand it to a degree. You know, that every time we get too far, too close, too boring, more than anything, when we get boring and all we're doing is creating, Empire State Buildings and palaces of Versailles and pyramids and temples and cathedrals and shit all over. These are everyday buildings and there's no conflict. The society no longer has conflict. We're not killing each other. We're not raping each other. We're not going to war anymore. We're just progressing and really just doing really great things. That's boring. Even SimCity has the feature to where, you can turn on disasters. Your shit starts getting boring, turn on the disasters and make it harder for you. That's supposed to make the game more fun, not build your shit up to the fucking moon. Build it up, but then destroy it. Book of Judas. Oh, so stupid. We're in this really weird reality where, what if they have to keep it like this? They have to keep the conflict going to keep the show going. Because once we get to that point, they flush the toilet, reset the show, and then watch it rebuild again. Bitch ass nigga. Oh, fuck.
Oh, shit. I meant to get your head. I'm so sorry. Oh, my God.
This is why we don't play with Angela. Yeah, no, I'm good.
Please let me console you.
No, I'm good.
I am so sorry. Oh, baby.
So, you guys have heard me say many, many times, right? I don't play with Angela because she accidentally hits me in the face all the time.
I wasn't even looking.
So, guys, remember how I always tell you not to play with Mom because she accidentally hits you in the face? Well, Mom just accidentally tried to poke my fucking eye out with that wrapper, Christmas wrapper thing. Right. Don't play with Mom. Telling you, you'll regret it. I didn't even play with Mom this time. I had my back turned and everything. I was like, please don't hit me.
I didn't even see you.
Right. Yeah. Accidentally. Most of you, you're in a relationship with somebody and you sort of wrestle around a little bit sometimes. You just sort of play. I'll accidentally get kicked in the face. It's happened more than once. That should tell you something. It's happened to the point where I don't even play. Every other girl I've ever been with, we've played around like that. Because I can't hit her back, It's always fun. It's, oh, ha, 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 ha. You accidentally kicked me in the face. Oh, that's fun. Oh, you accidentally poked me in the eye. That is so much fun. Lucky me. Who is she working for? Because I don't remember what the fuck I was saying. Oh shit. Boink. Oops, sorry. God, I hope you get a really great bonus after all this. Jesus Christ. You've been here for way too long. Are those for Grandma? You gonna get those too?
I don't have frames for big pictures, and I'm still not comfortable sending our fucking pictures.
Oh, Jesus. She lives in California. She doesn't know them. She doesn't know them. She asks about them all the time. You don't know what you're talking about. She just doesn't do it with you. She's also like 90. Anyway, that's it. That was my time to get off. Sign. That was the sign. Here's your sign. Here's your sign. I was literally saying how I had hit the wall and was thinking about stopping, and you just confirmed it. So there's going to be a bunch of links.
Paper, not the wall.
I didn't hit anything. No, nothing. I didn't hit anything. Yeah. The sign hit me. Anyway, Lots of links. Go check everything out. Get your free download. www.the-bilderberg, BILDERBERG-group.com. It's free to download. It's all you got to do is click 0 when it asks you how much you want to pay. Click download. How much you want to pay for this? You click 0 when it's free, or you can donate. We appreciate it. Don't worry, you won't see Angela there. But grab your free download. All we ask is that you share it with someone. Then go watch Hollywoodism, the most important film ever created. That's the second link. Most important film ever created. Third link is the most important article ever written. Bottom of Darkness by Israel Halem. Go check all these things out. Educate yourself. And then you can come back and you can tell me what I'm wrong about. That'd be really awesome. I'd love to hear what you think I'm wrong about. So, have yourself a great day. Don't forget to like, share, and sub the video. I didn't say that enough this time. I should have been saying that because I don't say it. People forget. Like, share, and sub. Go check out all the other links. There's a lot of receipts in the description, so it's going to take you a little while, but it's worth it. Have yourself a wonderful day. And you pedophiles, well, you kill yourself.